Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the next lecture. And in the last class, we had gone ahead and started talking about the production theory, right? Today, what I'm going to go ahead and do, it's going to be a very interesting lecture today. So what we will be going ahead and doing is, we will discuss the different kind of production functions today. But I will also introduce you to some very new concepts that you may not have heard. One of such concept will be isocline. We have heard about iso cost. इसके बारे में बात करेंगे. You may have heard about expansion path, but this will be a new topic for you in which I will be talking about isocline and product line. तो आज we will see कि what is an isocline, किसे बोलते हैं isocline और product line किसे बोलते हैं. We will try to see that. Then I will also introduce you to another very, very new concept, which is called as ridge lines. And we will try to see how production takes place and which is the favorable region within the ridge line. तो अगर मैं कुछ ridge lines draw करूं, तो उनके अंदर मेरा favorable region कहाँ पे आएगा? Where will I produce within those ridge lines? I will also go ahead and talk about that. So it is going to be a lecture about the entire production side of the producer. Then slowly, maybe tomorrow or day after tomorrow, I will move to the cost side of the producer also. Okay. Okay. So let us go ahead and start our session. Before we do that, so in the last class, we had talked about different kind of periods. But I just want to highlight that Marshall had gone ahead and talked about the different kind of periods, time periods, and he had divided time periods in 4 parts. आज तक हमने जब भी पढ़ा है, whenever we have studied, we have always talked about time periods in 2 parts. हमेशा हम बोलते हैं short run, long run, short run, long run. But Marshall, when he divided the time periods, according to Marshall, we can divide the entire time period in 4 parts. So, एक बारी पहले we will just write this down. So please write it with me. Marshall divided time period in 4 main parts. Right? And what are these 4 main parts? कैसे बता सकते हैं हम 4 parts को? So first of all, he said that there is something which is known as very short run. Second, you have short run. Third, long run. And fourth, very long run. Acha, this is very interesting. Ki some books, they write periods in terms of time period, in terms of year or months. माने वो बोलती है कि ना very short run period is 1 month, short run period is 1 year, long run period is more than 2 years. ऐसा कुछ. This is absolutely incorrect. Absolutely incorrect. You cannot define time periods in terms of the number of months or years. ऐसे नहीं define होता है. We will define these time periods in terms of what can be changed and what cannot be changed. ठीक है? कौन से factors हम change कर सकते हैं? Which factors I can go ahead and I can change, and which factors I cannot change. On the basis of that, I will go ahead and I will define my time period. So just remember this thing, that you can define your time period in terms of the factors. Okay. Now let us talk about the first time period, which is very short run. So very short run is that time period in which I cannot change my quantity supplied because I cannot change any factor of production. ना मैं लेबर इंक्रीज कर सकती हूँ या डिक्रीज कर सकती हूँ, नीदर आई कैन चेंज द लेबर, ना मैं कैपिटल इंक्रीज डिक्रीज कर सकती हूँ, नॉर आई कैन चेंज द कैपिटल. So if I cannot change any factor of production, कोई भी factor of production change नहीं हो सकता, then that will be called as very short run period. So we can say that here quantity supplied cannot be changed because of any factors. Because quantity supplied cannot be changed, मैं quantity को change ही नहीं कर पा रही हूँ. I can also go ahead and say that it does not depend on price, right? Whether you increase the price or decrease the price, I am not able to produce more, right? Usually what will happen? Whenever price will increase, जब भी price बढ़ता है किसी चीज का, the producer would want to supply more in the market. But very short run period is that period in which the producer is not able to change the supply. वो supply को change नहीं कर पा. So we can go ahead and we can define very short run period. There are some properties. The first property is that quantity supplied cannot be changed. Right? We cannot change quantity supply. Why? Because no factor of production can be changed. So whether I am talking about labor, capital, inventory, किसी चीज की भी बात कर लो, I cannot change any factor of production. No factor of production can be changed. Acha, another very important thing here is that we therefore say that the quantity supplied is exogenous. Quantity supplied is exogenous, right? Why is it exogenous? क्यों है ये exogenous? It is exogenous because it is not a function of price. It does not depend on price. So, not dependent on price. Price कुछ भी हो जाए, it cannot change, right? So this therefore can be called as very short run period. इसको हम very short run बोल देते हैं. Okay. Now, when I move from very short run to short run, अब क्या हो रहा है? I can change some factors. Those factors are called as variable inputs. But I cannot still change some of the factors. जो factors हम change नहीं कर पा रहे हैं, the factors which I cannot change, they are called as fixed inputs. And the factors that I can change, they are called as variable inputs. So now when I talk about short run period, let's define short run period. Short run period will be that period in which I can change the variable inputs. So now I have two type of inputs. Variable and fixed. And only variable inputs can be changed. सिर्फ वेरिएबल इनपुट्स ही चेंज हो सकते हैं. So I can fluctuate my output. Suppose price increases. So the producer wants to supply more in the market. He can fluctuate his output, but he can fluctuate it up to a limit. He is limited because he can only change some factors of production. एक point के बाद मैं output को नहीं increase कर पाऊंगी. We have studied the concept of diminishing marginal product of inputs. So because I am only changing the variable inputs, right? I cannot change the fixed inputs. My output can increase. Output तो बढ़ेगा, but only up to some level. I can increase it till one level. So we can say that now quantity is a function of price. Output is a function of price. Output will change when price will change, but at least one of the factor is fixed. कम से कम एक ऐसा फैक्टर तो होगा, एटलीस्ट देयर विल बी वन सच फैक्टर which is held constant, which is fixed. If this is the case, then I can go ahead and say that this is going to be very short. It is going to be short run period. ठीक है. Now let's talk about the long run period. Now, when we talk about the long run period, in this I can change both labor and capital. So I can increase or decrease my output. But the only thing that I cannot change is technology. Technology is assumed to be constant or unchanged. I can say that labor and capital can be fluctuated, or I can say that all inputs are variable inputs. Output can be increased or decreased. या output बढ़ा भी सकते हो, कम भी कर सकते हो. You can increase or decrease. But what is the only feature here? That technology is unchanged. I need to keep the technology unchanged. Technology is unchanged. Okay. The last part is very long run. उसमें सब कुछ same है. Whatever I have written in long run, but the only thing that now changes is that technology can be altered. So now I can go ahead and I can change the technology also. That's the only difference in very long run period. So Marshall went ahead and he divided the periods in 4 parts: very short run, long run, and very long run. Okay. Now what we need to go ahead and we need to do is we need to understand production function. तो हमने last class में पढ़ा. We understood what is a production function. But today I want to go ahead and I want to distinguish between different kind of production functions. So we can divide the production functions in many parts. The first one that I have, that is called as Cobb-Douglas production function. Okay. The second one that I have, that is called as fixed proportion or Leontief production function. The third one that we have, that is known as linear production function. And the last one that we have, that is known as constant elasticity of substitution production function, CES production function. Okay. So we need to go ahead and in today's class, I will be discussing all the 4 kind of production functions with you. On charo hi production function, we will do those. To begin with, let us go ahead and let us try to start with Cobb-Douglas production function. So when we talk about Cobb-Douglas production function, it was given by two economists whose name were Charles Cobb and Paul Douglas, and it was given in the year 1928. Production function ऐसा कुछ दिखता है, Q is equal to A, L to the power alpha, K to the power beta. This is my production function. This production function is also called as a well-defined production function. So just like when we talked about utility functions, है ना? तब हमने utility function में भी यही पढ़ा था that whenever we write utility function in the form u is equal to x to the power alpha, y to the power beta, that is a well-defined utility function. Similarly, we have the case with production function also. So whenever we go ahead and we write production function in this form, Q is equal to A, L to the power alpha, K to the power beta, it is called as well-defined production function. There are some properties of this production function. एक एक करके देखेंगे. So the first property of this production function is that it can be represented in what is called as log linear form. This production function can be represented as log linear form. ये जो question है that represent this production function as log linear form has been asked in multiple exams. In Indian Economics Service, it has been asked in RBI Grade B Depr exam. It has been asked in Economics Optional paper. It has been asked in your NET paper. It has been asked in multiple exams in different ways. So the first property that we are talking about, this is that it can be represented in the log linear form. बहुत ही आसान है. What I can do is I can take log on both sides. So I will get log Q is equal to log A, L to the power alpha, K to the power beta. And I can just go ahead and I can use the property that whenever we have log M to the power N, it is N log M. And whenever we have log M into N, it can be written as log M plus log N. Mane here, because these are getting multiplied, so I can just open them up. And since I see them in these powers, so I can just bring the power down. मैं ये दोनों ही चीजें कर सकती हूँ. I can bring the power down and I can also just open up this multiplication. So if I go ahead and I will do these two things here, तो मुझे कुछ ऐसा मिल जाएगा. Log Q is equal to log A plus alpha log L plus beta log K. When I go ahead and I write it in this format, जब हम इसको इस form में लिख रहे हैं, this is known as log linear format. इसी को हम log linear format भी बोल देते हैं. This is also known as a log linear format of the production function. So this is its first property. Second property, beta. The second property is related to the growth rate. Again, a commonly asked question in our exam. So what is growth rate? How can I define growth rate? What we can go ahead and do is that we can do a total differentiation of this production function. हम इसको एक बारी total differentiate कर सकते हैं. So when I will go ahead and I will do a total differentiation of this production function, I will get 1 by Q dQ is equal to 1 by A dA plus alpha 1 by L dL plus beta 1 by K dK. देखो the differentiation of log, जब भी हमारे पास log होता है, log y है, suppose if I want to differentiate it, I will get 1 by y and differentiation of y will be dy. So log's differentiation is that it will come in the reciprocal form, and y ka differentiation will be that it will become dy. So what we are doing here is we are just doing a total differentiation, and when we will do this, we will get this answer. We need to understand that this is the definition of growth rate. Growth rate क्या होता है? Change in anything divided by its original value. जैसे अगर मैं पूछूं आपसे कि price in period t minus price in period t minus 1 upon price in period t minus 1. ये क्या बता रहा है? This is telling me growth rate of price. This is telling me change in price upon the initial value of price. This is called as growth rate of price. And we know beta कि growth rate of price is nothing but it is inflation rate. उसी को inflation बोल देते हैं. So whenever we go ahead and whenever we have any equation in mind, the change in the value of the variable, जो भी value होता है variable का which changes, divided by the original value of the variable, that is actually called as the growth rate of the variable. तो उसी चीज को हम differentiation format में we are going ahead and we are writing it like this. So we can go ahead and we can say that this is growth rate of output divided by the original value of output. So this is change in output divided by original value of output. So ये हो जाएगा growth rate of output. A represents the technology. So this is growth rate of technology plus alpha, growth rate of labor plus beta, growth rate of capital. And this is the equation in terms of growth. Important equation. बहुत simple basic numerical can be asked from this. So for example, if I go ahead and I tell you output is equal to A, L to the power alpha, K to the power beta, I give you some values of alpha and beta. जैसे मैंने आपको alpha और beta की जगह पे half दे दिया. And I tell you that find the growth rate of technology if output grows at 10%, labor grows at 6%, and capital grows at 8%. So I have gone ahead and I have given you certain values, and I have given you this production function, and I have given you this question that find out the growth rate of technology. आपको technology का growth rate निकाल के दिखाना है. So what can you do? Just put it in the formula. What is the formula? Growth rate of output is equal to growth rate of technology plus alpha, growth rate of labor plus beta, growth rate of capital. Growth rate of output is 10%. Growth rate of technology, alpha is half. Labor is growing at the rate of 6%. Plus beta is half. Capital is growing at the rate of 8%. Right? And now you can just find the growth rate of technology. ये हो जाएगा 10 minus 3 minus 4. 10 minus 7 is equal to 3. So this will be the growth rate of technology.